A controversial situation at last night's AEW Collision tapings, as Nixon Newell, formerly known as Tegan Nox in WWE, and her tag team partner Miranda Alize allegedly refused to lose on AEW Collision, leading to both walking out of the tapings and a replacement team being drafted in at very short notice to compete during the broadcast. All of the details and more in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's begin with this remarkable situation at last night's AEW Collision. There was reportedly a last-minute rush on AEW Collision last night, as a change was made in the women's tag team division. Just 1 week after making their in-ring debut on AEW programming, former WWE superstar Nixon Newell and tag team partner Miranda Alize are now at the center of some controversy, as a report has emerged suggesting that they refused to lose just their second match in the organization. Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize were set to take on Anna Jay and Ty Mello in a losing effort on Collision last night, but a report from PW Insider has claimed the two balked at the booking because of also losing their match the previous week. It is said that the pair left the taping an hour before the show and were replaced by the pairing of Hyan and Mata World. PW Insider has learned that AEW were, quote, appreciative of the professionalism of the two replacement wrestlers. Now, a bit more details come out courtesy of Fightful Select, suggesting that maybe it's not necessarily the case of refusing to lose, but just not being happy with the creative. This is where it gets very, very murky. As I mentioned, PW Insider first reported that the duo refused to lose to Anna Jay and Ty Mello in what would have been their second AEW appearance. When Fightful say they inquired, it was stated to them that they didn't expect to win the match, but they wanted more than the budgeted 3 minutes in the loss. They were told times had been set for the match and couldn't be changed. The two left before the show and were replaced with Hyan and Maya World, who were thanked for their professionalism. AEW officials told Fightful they were shocked by the situation. It was communicated to Fightful that Miranda Alize was much more vocal about the situation there and online, but that Nixon Newell, former of course, Tegan Nox, was also adamant. There were a number of talent who know and like Alize and Nixon Newell who contacted Fightful and felt like the duo should have handled things differently. Neither are under contract to AEW. One source, according to Fightful, indicated that multiple people backstage went to bat for Nixon Newell after she'd mentioned she wasn't getting many bookings recently. Now, since the emergence of these reports, Alize, as Fightful's report mentioned, has taken to social media to claim that she has a lot to say before retweeting and liking comments about their team needing credible victories. At this point, it is said that neither woman is under an AEW contract, as mentioned before, which is said in both PW Insider and Fightful Select's report. So what do you make of this situation, and what do you think now happens when it comes to Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize in terms of their pro wrestling future? Let me know your thoughts about it, as always, in the comment section below. Now, keeping with AEW Collision last night, AEW Blood and Guts seems to be shaping up nicely. On this week's AEW Collision, 2 advantage matches, with an option of a third for the women, were announced for both the men's and women's teams. Claudio Castagnoli had already defeated Orange Cassidy, and then Darby Allin won a match for the conglomeration against Daniel Garcia to tie the score. The eyes were now on Jon Moxley and Roderick Strong. Whoever won this match would gain an advantage at Blood and Guts. The Death Riders did everything they could to get their team an upper hand. Moxley tried breaking Strong's fingers, Pac attacked Strong, and even set up a table for him, which backfired. In the final moments of the match, Moxley got slammed onto the steel steps outside of the ring. Strong returned to the ring, and the referee began the count for Moxley. But as he was coming back to the ring, someone grabbed his leg from below the ring. He couldn't make it back to the ring and lost the match. When Wheeler Yuta tried to lift off the apron, he saw Darby Allin there, who used a taser on him. Darby Allin, Roderick Strong, and the conglomeration's Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Kylie Riley will now have an advantage against the Death Riders, that being Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, and Pac in the men's Blood and Guts match. Now, as far as the women's Blood and Guts match, the team of Tekla will have her advantage in the bout. The Triangle of Madness, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla, Megan Bay, Marina Shafir, and Mercedes Moné will have the advantage in the women's Blood and Guts match on Wednesday against Jamie Hayter, Willow Nightingale, Harley Cameron, AEW Women's World Champion Chris Statlander, and Timeless Love Bombs, that being Timeless Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. After Bane defeated Shirakawa on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, Hayter tied up the best-of-3 series by defeating Sky Blue. Immediately following Hayter's victory, Tekla and Cameron battled to decide which team would get the advantage. Tekla picked up the victory with a spear. Wednesday will mark the first ever Women's Blood and Guts match, and the first time 6 competitors have been on each side. Now, speaking of Blood and Guts, we're getting some legends that are going to be at the show. The Nature Boy Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will appear at AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts on Wednesday. Tony Schiavone made the announcement on Saturday's AEW Collision. Blood and Guts will be held in Greensboro, North Carolina, where Steamboat and Flair had many battles in the 80s. Both have appeared on AEW television in the past. Flair's last appearance was at an episode of AEW Collision that was about paying tribute to, of course, the late Mongo McMichael. Steamboat's last appearance came at AEW Revolution 2024 as he served as the guest timekeeper. Now, coming up at AEW Full Gear, we're going to be getting this Casino Gauntlet match. Of course, it's going to be crowning the first ever AEW National Champion. At AEW Full Gear 2025, the company is going to crown its inaugural AEW National Champion in a Casino Gauntlet match. On the most recent AEW Collision, Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight of Jet Speed announced they're going to be fighting for the AEW National Championship at Full Gear. The title was announced by AEW President Tony Khan this week. So far, stars like Bobby Lashley, Ricochet, Shelton Benjamin, and now Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight have announced their participation in the Casino Gauntlet at AEW Full Gear. Now, Chris Statlander has sent a message to Mercedes Moné. Statlander doesn't think Moné can take the AEW Women's World title off her. On the November 8th edition of AEW Collision, Chris Statlander sent a message to her Full Gear opponent, Mercedes, in a backstage segment. Statlander said Mercedes lost in the quarterfinal of the Women's Tag Team title tournament because she wasn't focused on her. She further stated that at Full Gear, Mercedes still won't manage to win the AEW Women's World title. Quote, Mercedes, you have a lot that I will never have. More success, more accolades, more confidence, and more legacy than any woman in wrestling history. But there is one thing, well, maybe two, that I have and you don't. Focus. I have complete and total focus on being the AEW Women's World Champion, and you don't. If you think that this is just some other side piece you can scribble on a cake or have a nameless male bimbo carry behind you, well then, you would be wrong in the most extraordinary of ways. You were eliminated from the tag tournament because you were not focused on me. And now I will follow you into Blood and Guts, and I will go through whoever I have until you are focused on me. Then, at Full Gear, 1 year after we fought for the very first time in a completely different world, your focus will be full, your vision will be clear, and it still won't make a difference. Statlander and Moné will share the ring against each other at Blood and Guts next, and have another match for the AEW Women's World title at Full Gear later on this month. Now, it was made official yesterday. We now know who's going to be facing Hiroshi Tanahashi in his retirement match. There has been a lot of talk over the last several months in the lead-up to Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement from professional wrestling, with his final match scheduled for Wrestle Kingdom 20 on January 4th inside the Tokyo Dome, and now we know his opponent. At the New Japan Road to Anjo event yesterday, the New Japan president Tanahashi himself revealed to the world after his main event victory over U2 Ice, who would be stepping up to do battle with him in his final ever match, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, who is currently the reigning unified AEW champion. Tanahashi and Okada are longtime rivals, sharing the ring many times over their respective careers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Their previous singles match came in 2024 at Road to the New Beginning, which marked Okada's final singles match in New Japan before leaving the company and signing with AEW. This will be Okada's first official match in New Japan since departing. This will also mark the fourth time that Okada and Tanahashi have clashed at Wrestle Kingdom, having previously faced off at Wrestle Kingdoms 7, 9, and 10, all for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Over the last week, there were reports of other names being in the mix for Tanahashi's final opponent, including the likes of Kenny Omega, but indeed it's going to be the Rainmaker who's going to have the honor of having Tanahashi's final match. Now, sticking with AEW here, Matt Hardy's opened up on his AEW run. On a recent episode of the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, the wrestler talked about his AEW stint and said that it made him question his love for wrestling. He said, quote, "During those times in AEW, there were times where both myself and Jeff, especially me, when I was there and I wasn't really doing anything, it just made me question, why am I still doing this? I love this, but it kind of doesn't feel like something I love right now." Now, Matt joined AEW shortly after his WWE contract expired in March of 2020. He was a part of the inaugural Stadium Stampede match in AEW, taking on Chris Jericho's Inner Circle at Double or Nothing 2020. But now, of course, he's part of TNA Wrestling, where he's one half of the reigning TNA World Tag Team Champions alongside his brother, Jeff Hardy. An update here on just how much WWE is getting from Las Vegas for WrestleMania 42 at Allegiant Stadium next year. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, also known as the LVCVA, is set to give WWE $6 million for WrestleMania 42 at Allegiant Stadium. LV SportsBiz first reported the site fee news. This is from the LVCVA board. Quote, "For the second year in a row, Las Vegas will serve as the stage for WWE's premier event, marking the first time any city has hosted back-to-back WrestleManias since 1989. In 2025, WrestleMania 41 attracted 124,000 fans to Allegiant Stadium and generated more than 140,000 estimated incremental room nights tied to the week-long series of WWE events. In addition to the two-night Allegiant Stadium event that will take place on April 18th and 19th, 2026, WWE will bring Raw, SmackDown, NXT Stand and Deliver, WWE World, and the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony to Las Vegas, as well as a variety of community outreach events designed to give back to Southern Nevada. Las Vegas hosted WrestleMania 41, which came with a $5 million site fee and $4.2 million in tax credits. WrestleMania 42 was originally announced as being in New Orleans, but plans changed, and the event was later confirmed to be returning to Las Vegas. Now, an update here on an independent pro wrestling company in DPW. Deadlock Pro Wrestling, DPW, announced their 4th anniversary show on December 12th, and one show in Japan in 2026 will be their final events for the foreseeable future. This is from DPW, quotes, "Hey everyone, the next DPW event will be our 4th anniversary event on Friday, December 12th. We will run one more event in Japan in 2026, but this will be the final DPW event for the foreseeable future. We have decided to make the event a fundraiser event to help families in the area as we close the 2025 holiday season and head into the new year. All tickets to the event will be $1 to allow everyone who has ever wanted to attend a DPW event the ability to do so. There will be an option to donate on Eventbrite, and we'll be collecting donations at the event. All the money from the gate and donations from the December 12th event will be donated to a local North Carolina food bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. Deadlock itself will match the gate and donations up to $10,000. The Eventbrite page will be going up later this week. It has been an absolute pleasure to produce DPW events these past 4 years. Thank you to all fans, wrestlers, and everyone behind the scenes that made all of this possible. We are extremely proud of what we have accomplished, and we're excited to celebrate with a great anniversary event in December. Thank you for everything." DPW opened in 2021 and has become one of the top independent promotions in the US. The show has featured talent such as Violence is Forever, Javon Evans, Adam Priest, Cedric Alexander, Roderick Strong, Saquon Sugars, and more. And finally, looks like a former WID prospect could be going to AEW. Fightful Select say they have learned that AEW has shown interest in Zeta Steel of late. Until early October, Zeta Steel was contracted to WWE under her WWE ID contract. Fightful are told that contact was made sometime in October between AEW and Steel, but that she wasn't signed as of then and hadn't been as of this past week. Under the terms of WWE ID deals, WWE has matching rights if any company wants to sign the ID contracted talent. However, Steel is no longer under that deal, so that wouldn't apply. The word within WWE was that when it came time to renew the deal, Zeta opted not to renew, in line with what she said at the time. While under WWE ID contract, she worked 9 Evolve matches. She won 1 singles match and a tag team match. She also competed in WWE ID tied matches in GCW and APAC, not winning any of those. Zeta still has worked for Marigold in the past and wrestled a number of dates for MLW, eventually finishing out by losing in an MLW World Women's title match. match. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.